Welcome to the podcast editing and support show. My name is Dave. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. We're going to start the episode right now. Happy to have you here. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you back. It's Dave. We're talking about helping your clients with this whole thing around filler words and dead air. I think we can offer some more help for our clients and help them to be better on the mic and give them some practical things that they can consider as they host the show before they give you the finished recording for you to work your magic on. We can do more than just edit out the ums and ahs. We can help it right from the start in how we coach our clients. Glad you're here. Now, the one reason why we use so many ums and ahs and you knows and such is because we're trying to fill dead air. We're trying to fill up every last second with some sort of sound. And it comes with trying to just be like radio in the sense that if I just stop talking for a second, that's really awkward. That big gap of what was that? People immediately look at their phones, they look at their car stereo, they're like, what happened here? Why did everything stop? Where did Dave go? We're afraid of silence. We're afraid of gaps. And I've been watching a lot of communication videos and teaching people how to be better and to reduce the amount of ums and ahs. What it comes down to is when we're asked a question, like in an interview, we ask a question of our guest, they're formulating their answer. And while they're thinking of their answer and their response, they don't want to leave a gap. So they just throw in a bunch of random words while their brain is trying to formulate and grasp the concept and formulate their answer when they're not prepared, right? Thinking on the spot. And one of the people I've been watching, they said, basically, when you're asked a question and you're the guest, and you're asked a question, instead of just while you're trying to get your answer formulated, just be quiet and think about it for a second before you respond. So it could be like, what's the one key thing that all podcast editors should know? You could easily start with, let me think. Sure. That's a good question. All of that stuff is filler while my brain is trying to grasp your question, formulate into an answer and give it back to you. So if we could just erase all that and simply go right into the answer, great, but we need some time to process it, right? So be quiet. When the question is asked of you, pause. Think about it. And then come back with your answer. Pauses are very easy to fix in the edit. Ums and ahs that blend into the next word. When you go, so when I work with clients, all that so when I work is like one piece all combined together. A separate a separate a separate right, a so. I use so all the time. Those things separate on their own, not too bad, but very intensive to go through. I was working on a client's edit today, and there had to be 60, 70 ums, and combination of those, where some of them would be like two ums in a row, that kind of thing. And I'm saying, oh, wow. And I was able to cut them all down. It was surgery in Audacity to go through, and you can see them on the screen as you do more and more edits. As an editor, you'll see these ums. They're quite visible. They have their own unique signature as a waveform. Now, I don't use those services online where you upload it, you edit as a transcript, and remove all ums, click a button. I don't. I think there's a skill and a talent still for audio editing. And I love going in and surgically making it sound like those ums and ahs, those crutch words, those that dead airspace is removed and it sounds smooth and my guest sounds better. What I find frustrating, okay, if I have a little moment, just you and I go into Facebook groups and I see podcasters proclaiming that editing is a waste of time, that we just go live, we record it as is, and we post it as is. No edits. It's perfect. It's fine. Just move on. And I find that to be extremely lazy. I find that to be very unfocused on your audience, more focused on you and what your bandwidth is. There's no thought of the audience here. Everybody edits. Everybody. You edit. Whether it's your podcast or whatever, you edit. It's called taking a shower. That's an edit. It's called deodorant. That's an edit. It's called makeup. That's an edit. It's called brushing your hair, shaving. Edits. Those are all edits. Putting on clothes. Edit. They're all edits. So you and I edit all the time, and we're not even thinking of it. So why is it that creating content does not require an edit? Movies edit, music edits, authors edit. Everybody edits, some degree. So why is it that podcasters feel that editing is such an easy thing to avoid? I think at the end of the day, the audience is the key reason why we do what we do. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because we're editors. And this is what we do, and this is what we protect. And it feels like I'm protecting the industry and protecting, podcast editing en masse. But it's true. Without editing, I think we set ourselves up for the potential of creating content that doesn't add value. It's not condensed. It's not the best of the best. And we can remove the tangents. We can remove the unrelated conversations. We can tighten it up. There's so much benefit, I find, as a podcaster, speaking just as a podcaster and a listener. Forget the whole editing side. As a podcaster and a listener, I think that our shows are better by putting them under some scrutiny. And the fact that everyone else edits whatever they do as a creative person, I think that we don't have an excuse about putting out the best product possible. Our shows, our own shows, our client shows, they are up against all of the other shows on the apps and on YouTube. So that's one thing to consider. Now, again, going back to these automated tools where you click a button and it does it for you, they're generally doing it to the video version of the podcast, and then they're stripping out the audio after. And it's very choppy to use these tools in a video version of the edit when you're removing the ums and ahs. You get a lot of jump cuts. And I know people are like, well, a certain age group doesn't like jump cuts. Everybody else is fine with them. But they're still very distracting. And I'm not a big fan. So I like a nice, clean, smooth video edit with fades and B-roll and like some thought put into it. These one-click options, I'm not a big fan of. And I've actually had them reach out to me to advertise on my How to Podcast series show, and I said no. Because A, I don't use the tool, and B, I don't recommend them. So, yeah. So that's the thing. So for me, I just love the idea of if we could focus on creating better content from the beginning, the moment we turn on the mic, to turn on the camera, if we could be better there, I think it translates into our world. And here, going back to the lazy podcaster who thinks that editing is a waste of time, I listen to your content and it is not good. Like, it needs help. And I am fearful for you the moment you, as a non-editing podcaster who doesn't find value in edits, stepping onto stage in front of an audience for the first time and just being an machine and watching your audience go, oh, this is This is hot garbage. Like, this is not good. So I think that all of us could benefit from being aware of our crutch words, being aware of our ums and our ahs, being aware of how we can improve. And if you're not going to put your content under the microscope to see how you can improve, I don't think it's ever going to get any better. And I don't think your podcast is going to grow. Sure, there's anomalies. Sure, there are people who don't edit and somehow they're just doing well. But I wouldn't say that's the majority of people creating content. For the rest of us, there's a thing called deodorants, showers, clothes, makeup, hairspray. We edit, and I think we need to edit our show. If you want to work on your filler words and dead air, it comes in practice, it comes in repetition, it comes in being aware of the things that you do that frustrate your listeners. They may never tell you. They may never come back. Is that something you're willing to chance? Or can we improve and can we do better as a podcaster? I think we can do better. That's why we're here. So when you meet with your clients and you talk about podcast editing, talk about the benefits of podcast editing. Talk about how we can make your show better for the audience, right? And if your client is saying, well, I don't see the value in editing, then have your client look at it from the listener's point of view. Because the listener is the reason why we're creating the content in the first place. Otherwise, we could just record on our phone and leave it there. We're putting this out into the world. And the world has an opinion about what's great and what's not. You've been to a movie that sucked. You've listened to a song and went, how is this even, why would anybody make this? You know what is good, you know what is not good. You've got a good crap detector built into you right now, and so does your audience. So let's make it better through our edits. That's my little moment for podcast editors. We're still valuable. We still bring great value to podcasting, and we're a great support to podcasters. So in a world of AI and one-click buttons this and one-click button that, the beauty of what we do is so amazing. So don't let anybody tell you that podcast editing is a waste of time, because it's not. Keep waving the flag. We got this. Take care. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Visit us at podcasteditingandsupport.com. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. We would love to help you find a great podcast editor, or if you want to hire us, we would love to work with you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. Catch you on the next episode. Take care.